It's the first week of November. I'm Dave. I'm here with Andrew, and you're listening to BV Weekly. This week, we're talking about the new band from Katie and Allison Crutchfield and MJ Lenderman, the return of Radiohead, the beloved rapper who influenced New York City's new mayor, and more. Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hey Dave, I'm actually sick this week, so if I sound a little nasally or tired or anything like that, that's why.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, I am sorry. I hope you feel better.
Thanks. I'm drinking a lot of cold brew, and I just listened to the new Drain and Danny Brown albums to try to give me some energy.
Oh, yeah, if you
So
need a TV show, this week, The Lowdown just finished on Hulu. Highly recommended. It's like there's only 8 episodes. The last one aired this week. It stars Ethan Hawke as like this dude-like character doing investigative journalism into like powerful and dangerous people, including a person running for governor played by Kyle MacLachlan of Twin Peaks. And, you know, the show is definitely a little bit of a descendant of Twin Peaks. So it makes it even extra special. And Killer Mike is in the show playing an amazing character, as are like a ton of other great actors. A lot of classic country in the soundtrack. And actually my biggest surprise in the episode last night, a character, you'll like this one, a character was wearing a shirt of Caitlin Butts.
I do like that.
I did not expect Caitlin Butts in the wild, I gotta say.
1 week after she released a Jimmy Eat World cover,
Who released a Jimmy Eat World cover?
Caitlin Butts.
Oh, right. No, sorry. Yes. I like to say Caitlin Butts. It's a fun name. But yes, we like Caitlin Butts' music as well. I've got Andrew speechless right now. But the show is great. Watch The Lowdown.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll have some extra time at home while I'm recovering, so sounds like it's good timing.
Yeah, and so neither of us have been at any shows this past week, but we've been watching some shows online. Now, I don't just mean TV shows. Radiohead began their first tour in 7 years in Europe this week. And
Madrid.
In Madrid. Yeah. How many nights are they playing in Madrid?
That I don't know. But I do know they've played 2. We're recording on Thursday afternoon. They've played 2 so far, and I think the third will have happened probably soon.
Right. So it's admittedly kind of hard lately to be a Radiohead fan with all that's going on, but like we've been looking at these set lists, and what do you think of the set list so far?
Well, I think it's cool that they're changing it up. The first 2 shows had drastically different set lists, which I wish we would see more from bands in general. So I think that's cool. And there's some deep cuts on there. Night 1, they played Sit Down, Stand Up from Hail to the Thief for the first time in over 20 years. Night 2, they played 2 songs for the first time in 16 years, which were Jigsaw Falling Into Place from In Rainbows and Nice Dream from the Bends.
Radiohead is a TikTok band now.
Is that true?
They opened with Let Down, which was
right. Yes, they opened the first show with Let Down, which like became a hit after 28 years or something because of TikTok. Yeah,
it was in the Billboard 100 this year.
Yeah,
Billboard Hot 100 to be more specific. And the visuals were really cool. You know, I would love to have witnessed that in person, but we see from the videos, some of which we posted on BV, which they were like this. It looked like they're playing in the round inside of what looks like this giant bird cage. I'm actually reading from our own post now, with translucent LED screens all the way around that could be raised or lowered. And so, yeah.
Yeah. If you haven't already, if you haven't seen the videos and the set list, they're on brooklynvegan.com. So check them out there.
I know at least a couple people that flew to Spain for these shows, actually. Not as many people as I knew that flew for Oasis shows, but also Oasis were gone way longer.
Way longer. I mean, it's 7 years. It is pretty long, but I think it doesn't feel that long, especially with the Smile having happened and stuff. And then, stuff like that, other Tom York projects. So,
yeah. They also, like you said, they played a lot of different songs each night. So the people I know went both nights. Lucky them. And they got like a lot of songs over 2 nights so far.
So the big news in New York City this week is that Zohran Mamdani became the first guest at an MJ Lenderman show to be elected New York City mayor.
Very true. That did happen. And the pictures of Zohran and MJ have all been resurfacing on socials not
Hmm.
surprisingly. And it
Yeah.
was I said this back when it happened. One of our earliest shows of this podcast, we went into Zohran's rap career, but also just talked about how this election has been so musical. And I was pointing out at the time that it was really that MJ Lenderman show that kind of solidified Zohran as a person I fully knew about. You were way more aware of him before that, and I had known about him before that, but it was like when he came out with MJ Lenderman, that was in April. That was when I just suddenly 100% knew who he was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, for me, it was the video from when after Trump got elected of Zoran going around to New Yorkers and asking them who they voted for and asking them to explain why they did vote for Trump if they said Trump. And that video has also been resurfacing. I think that was a lot of people's introduction to him, was not just my own. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's consistently been kind of connected to indie rock. He came out at a Lucy Dacus show. We've seen like his win celebrated by Claro and Lord and Halsey. So yeah, the music connection continues. I mean, watching the footage of the Zoran headquarters at Brooklyn Paramount, no less. Like hard not to notice the soundtrack. There was a DJ. They played "Many Men" by 50 Cent, who's not a Zoran supporter. He ended his speech by walking off to a Bollywood song. So there is definitely continues to be a music angle to his political
Yeah.
career.
For those that don't know, Brooklyn Paramount is a pretty new. It's a legendary room, but it's new as a music venue here in.
Well, it was
Brook-
always a music venue.
It
I
was
mean, they
actually
had like Ella Fitzgerald and like Miles
okay. That's true.
Davis, and
That's
yeah,
true. It's new as a music venue again.
yeah.
It had
It's a
been
it's a renovated classic theater that
right.
now is like a rock and other genre, like more modern music. It's always funny because like on the wall they'll have like the most legendary like jazz artists that have played there, and then it'll be like, and tonight, Rise Against.
Right.
Yeah.
But the part that was confusing me is that its previous incarnation was a basketball court for
Mm,
Long Island University, who owned the building.
I see.
And so, yeah, if you Google the pictures of that, it's actually kind of funny because the theater stuff is all like the details of a theater you still see up in the ceiling, but
Hmm.
there's a painted basketball court in the middle. Anyway,
And meanwhile, one of Zoran's kind of big last pushes before election day was a huge event with Bernie Sanders and AOC at Forest Hill Stadium, which is also a concert venue and a tennis
which is
stadium.
also the venue he said in the debate was his favorite venue, which
Right, yeah.
I don't
Which
know if he's
I was
telling the
like,
truth or it's
I
just
felt like he was going to say Market Hotel or something like that.
yeah, for sure. I don't know. When he was a rapper, I wonder what venues he played, if any. I don't,
Yeah, not
in all
Forest Hill
the,
Stadium.
no, but in all the research we've done into his rap career, I have not actually seen a live footage that I can remember
Good
or
point. Good point.
anything about a venue. But by the way, I'm going to Brooklyn Paramount this Friday.
Who are you seeing?
Hot Mulligan, Drug Church, Anxious, and Arm's Length. I mean, crazy bill. I'm mostly going for the openers, but I'm definitely interested to check out Hot Mulligan as well. But it's yeah, I'm excited. I'm
Nice.
most excited. I'm seeing in tonight the day this podcast comes out. I am seeing both Drug Church and Anxious.
Very cool. Well, Hot
Yeah.
Mulligan puts on a hell of a show, and the crowd goes crazy for them. So
Yeah, and they apparently sold out that venue, probably without the help of all three openers, who all seem big themselves. So yeah, it's like
it's
kind
it's
of
gonna. I mean,
wild.
when I saw them at Irving Plaza headlining on the last album, and it was like such a sweaty, wild show that it really brought me back to like a younger time in my life. I feel like it'd been a minute since I'd seen like a rising band on a new album put on like something like that. It felt very super super exciting. So I hope you get a taste of that.
I definitely, yeah, I hopefully too, but I'm definitely staying. That's what I'm saying. I'm excited for that. All four bands are very worth seeing on this whole tour, by the way. This is and so
It's an incredible
back to-
bill. So
yes,
yes.
back
so
to MJ Lenderman.
Speaking
for a
of MJ
second.
Lenderman,
Since our last episode, there have been a whole bunch of surprise album releases, including most notably Snocaps, which is a new band from Katie Crutchfield, aka Waxahatchee, her twin sister Allison Crutchfield, who has collabed with Katie many times before, including most notably to me, they started out as the band P.S. Eliot, maybe
Well,
started.
they started out as the band The Ackleys.
Right, I knew you were going to correct that. So but the pre-Waxahatchee, pre-Swearin, which was Allison Crutchfield's band, P.S. Eliot. And then this new album is a self-titled album made with the supergroup of MJ Lenderman and Brad Cook. Brad also produced, and everybody on there played multiple instruments.
Yeah. And it comes after Brad produced the last two Waxahatchee albums, as well as I believe the Plains record, which was Waxahatchee and Jess Williamson. And MJ Lenderman played guitar all over the last Waxahatchee record. He obviously sings on its biggest and best song. Um, so yeah, there's all kinds of connections there. And Allison has been on Waxahatchee records. She has toured as a member of the Waxahatchee touring band. So it's a lineup that makes a lot of sense, and I like the record a lot. I feel like it's a little bit more the indie rock side of Waxahatchee. Like, it kind of takes me back to before Waxahatchee went in this more Americana country direction. But there is also some of that too, especially some MJ Lenderman lead guitar that gives it some nice twang, and I think it's great. I've been listening to it a lot since it came out. I'm really excited about it. And I'm excited they're playing some shows. They're playing New York, Chicago, and LA in December. And they're saying it might be the only time they play, or at least only time for a while. So,
You know what? Did you notice they're also on that Wilco Fest in...
Oh, are they? I did not notice that.
I was wondering if that got announced after these shows, but Wilco has that. I think it's a Mexico Fest. They just announced the set times, and it's got Snocaps, MJ Lenderman, maybe Waxahatchee, and Cameron Winter, who has nothing to do with this, but he's on there. So those are all separate sets, all on this fest.
Nice.
Anyway.
It does seem like the kind of thing that we could, because we've already seen Waxahatchee and MJ Lenderman perform together multiple times. They're often on a lot of the same festivals. It seems like the kind of thing where maybe we could get little bits of Snocaps here and there, but yeah, don't miss those shows if you care about this, because it could be your only chance. And I don't know if MJ Lenderman and Brad Cook are touring with the band. I mean, I guess.
No, they seem to imply they are. MJ, who is not touring with Wednesday, does seem to be at least part of the band actually touring with.
Okay, I mean that's exciting. I'm happy, because it's technically it's Katie and Allison's project, and MJ Lenderman and Brad Cook seem to be studio members. But
it's
yeah, there's
also
also
only a handful of shows. So
yes,
it's
right. It does make me think that, I mean, Brad Cook, I feel MJ Lenderman is very busy, but Brad Cook is also very busy in the studio. I mean, he's a highly prolific producer at this point. But MJ just somehow seems to love life on the road. So I imagine he's super down. And if Brad Cook's playing with them, that's cool too. Also really good openers, including one of the New York shows, which to me is really interesting, is that it's with Ryan Davis and the Roadhouse Band, who have toured with MJ Lenderman before. So no big surprise, but they really have popped off this year with their new record. And they're kind of part of that whole indie country thing that we have talked about at length. And to be on a bill with one of these very special Snocaps shows feels like quite the double bill. But that's one of the New York shows. The other one is with Brennan Weedle, if I'm saying that right. Cloakroom and Graham Hunt open in Chicago, and Slippers and Mike Kroll. Mike is married to Allison, open the LA shows. So it's all seemingly very special shows.
Definitely. And so, all right, if we're going to call Snocaps Zohran related, then we can do to MJ Lenderman. It's not the only Zohran related surprise release this week. On Halloween. Heems, who is a rapper we love, Heems came to prominence as a member of Das Racist, released a surprise EP on last Friday, called 100 Alibis, which features 4 big indie rock pop guests, including Unknown Mortal Orchestra, Ranaldo of Sonic Youth, Anand Wilder of Yeasayer, and Panda, obviously of Animal Collective. And It's actually a fun, cool EP. I mean, we already love Heems. And we love that in recent years he's released very serious rap albums that really proved any haters questioning his rap skills that he is not to be questioned in that area. But this one's a little all over the place in terms of genres. Yes.
Yeah. It's like with those four kind of indie rock or indie pop guests, the EP itself is actually often those genres, but there is a little rapping on it. Um, but yeah, it's I mean, I feel like Heems is a rapper who's always been sort of like indie rock adjacent, but never to the extent of this EP, as far
Definitely.
as his own music.
I mean, he for sure shared bills back in the day with Yeasayer and
Hmm.
like, or maybe not definitely, but he was in that. They came up together, those bands, possibly a Wesleyan college connection, but it was like that whole scene back in Brooklyn in, was it the
Late 2000s,
2000s?
early
Yeah.
2010s. Yeah.
Heems was part of that. And Das Racist was part of that. And then Heems was part of that. And yeah, the one thing, like, I'm trying to think how to describe this EP when it's not rapping is sounds like the Beatles. I mean, the Anand Wilder song sounds most like the Beatles, but even like the Unknown Orchestra, UMO, I'll call them song, sounds like UMO, which, it's like that psych pop rock, Tame
Hmm.
Impala-y, Beatles-y
Yeah.
sound.
I mean, between UMO, Yeasayer, and Animal Collective slash Panda Bear, like that's all kind of in that like
You're
the
saying
the the
it's
the 2000s era reboot of 60s psych pop kind
right.
of vibe.
So
So
Beatles redundant.
yeah,
But yes,
no, but
that's
it's not. I mean, and then Lee Ronaldo is kind of the um maybe the outlier in a way, but he's also a big Deadhead. So but no, I mean it's all very, I think, Sonic Youth were so just forever involved that
the
it
Lee
it it,
song
it
is
all feels.
very cool. I
Hmm.
mean, Lee's guitar playing, super awesome to listen to, while Heems is both singing and rapping on that track. Um, I was thinking the song "The Blessing" on the EP, which has no guests, maybe sounds the most Animal Collective-y, more than the one with Panda Bear. Um, Definitely worth a listen. And
I like I think my favorite is the Panda Bear song.
okay,
Yeah, they're all. I mean, the whole thing is good. It's a quick listen, but that one I think had a cool mix of the Heems you know and love, and then these Panda Bear vibes, and so I was that one stuck out to me.
and so the timing of this is actually crazy. Like we said, did we even say why this is Zoran
We didn't
related?
even mention it yet.
I introed it. I said, this is speaking of Zoran related things. So it ends up Zoran is very associated with Heems.
A
Uh,
lot more so than MJ Lenderman.
a lot
Yeah.
more so than MJ
The
Lenderman.
MJ Lenderman thing, if you're like, what are they even talking about? Was MJ Lenderman brought him on stage during his Brooklyn Steel run earlier this year, which, like you said, was kind of like it helped raise awareness for sure for this campaign. But Heems is somebody that has inspired Zoran and for a long, long time, and someone that he has a much more direct and longer running connection to.
Yeah.
Um,
So I was searching Twitter, looking at old Zoran tweets. He was on Twitter 10, 11, 12 years ago, and those tweets are still up there. And it's very cute because there's a lot of young Zoran tweeting at Heems all the time. One of them where he's asking him where his vinyl is. He's like, I ordered it last month. It hasn't showed up. A lot where he's just like, oh, I'm so excited. This is coming. This album is coming out next week. When Heems later then formed the duo Sweatshop Boys with actor Riz Ahmed, that Zoran was doing tweeting at both of them. Can't wait for this to come out. I'm so excited a lot. So, and there's lots of that. There's other old Zoran tweets which are, praising Kanye West, Lupe Fiasco, Aziz Ansari comedy too. There's a bunch. It's fun to look at some of those. Anyway, like we said, Zoran, who did he go into rap or politics first? I don't actually
Rap.
know. Okay, so but he did say that Heems inspired him to be a go into politics.
Hmm.
He also, I don't know, maybe Heems also inspired him to become a rapper. But
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a quote in Rolling Stone from earlier this year from Zohran Mamdani where he says, I actually got involved in local politics because I picked up a copy of The Village Voice in 2015, where I saw that Heems, who was one of my favorite rappers, was endorsing my childhood friend. Um, so he kind of was inspired by Heems, not just to do his rap career, which he had rapped under a few different monikers, including Young Cardamom, Mr. Cardamom, um, but as also Heems also influenced his political journey, and Heems also spoke to Rolling Stone for that same piece, and he's basically like, well, that makes a lot of sense because a quote from Heems is he said that the thing about rap music is that it's a community art form that's rooted in the working class. Its two themes are aspiration and struggle. So to have somebody that innately understands rap music is to have somebody that innately understands community struggle and aspiration. So yeah, I mean, and we've, as we have talked on a previous episode about the amount of musicians that have gone into politics. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense because so much music, rap, punk, folk is like this kind of the people having a voice kind of music, and those people want to create change, and so it makes sense that some of them end up going into politics. It seems like Zohran Mamdani's political career has taken off a little bit more than his rap career.
yeah,
um but
which is a good one last thing about Heems. And now they're friends. So forget about even inspirations and stuff. You look back at a young Zohran being like a huge fanboy of Heems all the time on Twitter. And now, just like last month, there's a photo on Heems' Twitter of the two of them together. I think at Zohran's 34th birthday party, something like
mhm.
that. They're buddies now. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it definitely, I feel,
and
it's kind of mutually beneficial, I would think.
and I
But
don't know if they ever crossed paths when Zohran was actually rapping. You should have figured that out
I
in
never
head.
found that they like did a track or played a show or anything together. But I'm thinking like now, like, wouldn't it be great to get Zohran on a Heems track? I mean, you know, it would make a lot more of a splash than it would have if it did happen a decade ago.
That's true. Although there's always the fear of it just coming off as a gimmick at this point. But
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still can't help but notice. I wish I could remember the credit for this quote, but someone said that like another writer had said that the way Zohran debates, like you can hear how it's influenced by rap battling. And I mean, I continue to think that like the last debate they did with Zohran Mamdani, Andrew Cuomo, and Curtis Sliwa, there were multiple moments where he just fired something back in a way that seemed like rap battling. And like when he gave his acceptance speech too, like he has this knowledge of history, these like he has kind of a literary vibe to him, like just the way that he drops references, it feels very hip-hop inspired, and just that he's like so quick with great wording. I mean, that's the art of rap battling. So it seems like he is probably the New York City mayor to have the most inspiration from rap battling of all time, I
I'll
think.
give him that. I'll give
Yeah.
him that. And so, a bit obviously, like we said, we talked about Zoran's rap career on one of our first episodes of this podcast. And at the time, you can be sure that I searched my email trying to find if he had reached out to Brooklyn Vegan me to see if, to promote his music. And at the time, I didn't find anything. But this week, I was inspired to search again and realized that he has gone under a few different names. So I don't know if last time I was searching just Mr. Cardamom or what, but ends up he was also releasing music under the name Zohran Kwame, and which maybe is his middle name, is it?
It might be.
I don't know, but yeah, it's listed. If you go to Rate Your Music, there's one that says also known as Zohran Kwame Mamdani. So I read that as like, oh, it's a middle name. But anyway,
Yes,
I haven't
it
even,
is. Yes,
yeah,
it's his middle
it's
name.
his middle
Yeah.
name.
Hmm.
Okay. So I found an email today. It's from 2017. It's not from Zohran himself, but here, I'll read it. Hi, Bill. I'm actually Dave, but people always get confused. So, hi, Bill. I manage Zohran Kwame, and he's a rapper in New York City. He's planning on releasing his second song on April 27th. It's titled No Fruits at Night and is a song about family, about the pain of seeing parents go through medical problems, and about the joy of surviving them and looking forward. You can listen to the final mix here. Links to SoundCloud, which, by the way, the song is still up on SoundCloud 8 years later. We'd very much appreciate if Brooklyn Vegan would cover the song. Would anyone on your team be interested in writing about this? Signed, Zohran's manager. Anyway, that was pretty cool. Found that email
cool.
today.
There was
Unfortunately, we didn't write about it, but
there's a few people tweeting things like this, and I saw someone did a screenshot of they replied something like, "Hey, hope the rap career is going well. Just kidding. Congrats on the mayor win," or something.
yes,
I'd love to give that reply here too, but
yeah.
it's been
Although
done.
that person was helping Zohran and suggesting publications to reach out to, and was also emailing directly with Zohran. And I also saw, I think Stereo Gum has an email directly from Zohran. But yeah, we got the manager. There you go.
There we go. Well, I wonder, now that he's celebrating his win, I wonder if Zohran's going to be listening to any of the new records that we reviewed on Brooklyn Vegan this week.
He does follow us on Twitter, so.
Oh, well. We should talk about those. And I'm going to preface that by saying that, like you said at the beginning of the show, it is November now. I think it being November is starting to put people in year-endless mode or year-end mode in general. We got a lot of Christmas music this week. I don't know if you noticed, there's 2 Christmas albums at least out this week, some Christmas singles. The Kylie Minogue one, Xmas, pretty catchy. Just throwing that out there. I've seen Christmas commercials constantly. I feel bad for Thanksgiving because I used to feel like Christmas starts the day after Thanksgiving, and now it starts the day after Halloween. Like Thanksgiving kind of getting the shit end of the stick there. But the year does not end on November 1st, nor does it end on December 1st. And this is actually one of the most stacked weeks for new albums in a bit. So I'm excited to dig into some of this week's new records.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, 2 that I hinted at the beginning of this show, one of which we talked a little bit about when the first single came out, which is Danny Brown's album Stardust. And as we were saying, when the single was released, the album it's basically Danny going hyperpop. It has a different guest from in and around the hyperpop world on almost every song, and that includes Quadeca, Underscores, Jane Remover, Frost Children, Fentanyl, and others. And I think I kind of said this about the single too, but it just makes so much sense because Danny Brown, especially when you listen to an album like Atrocity Exhibition, Danny is someone who definitely influenced hyperpop in the first place with his sort of like erratic, electronic inspired production meets just the erratic sound of his rapping. So for him to go make this record with these people from this style of music that is like very sort of Gen Z oriented, and Danny Brown is over 40, it could come off kind of like, how do you do, fellow kids? But he just really makes it work because it doesn't feel like latching on to like the hot new trend. It feels like rightfully claiming his role as the pioneer of this kind of stuff. And it comes as no surprise that his rapping style sounds so great over this kind of production. And some of the songs on this album, I think, are some of the best Danny Brown songs of his career. And others, I think he actually almost sounds like the guest on his own song. And I don't mean that negatively. It's like he really lets a lot of these guest musicians or collaborators shine. And like it, as I say in my review on brooklynvegan.com, it's like it almost veers towards sounding like a compilation, but ultimately it doesn't, because it's too cohesive for that. It really does sound like, Danny Brown in the driver's seat, making sure everything works together. And it's a really cool, wild, chaotic record that is especially exciting to hear because his last album, Quaranta, which I did really love, was kind of like, it was kind of him contributing to the kind of like grown man rap canon. And so this is him saying like, I can absolutely still do the chaotic, youthful stuff as well and sound just as natural and genuine with that kind of stuff as I ever would have. So really cool record.
Full circle. 11 years ago, Vampire Weekend released a remix of their track Step off Modern Vampires of the City, which featured 3 guests. Despot, who is another rapper from that's still going and also collaborated with Heems a lot, and Heems and Danny Brown. So it was Vampire Weekend with Danny Brown, Heems, and Despot all on the same track 11 years ago. Speaking of Heems being in the indie rock scene and Danny Brown having crazy collaborators always. So yeah.
There you go. So like playing 6 Degrees of Zohran Mamdani, you can put Danny Brown in there.
True.
And I guess Jane Remover. I mean, I think that's what would be still 4 or 5 degrees. This is fun. We should do a whole episode about that.
Well, if we keep going, Despot, who owns delis that didn't Vampire Weekend, or he owns like a whole bunch of things, and didn't Vampire Weekend with their last album, did that whole like New York City delis thing, and they definitely always hanging with Despot. And didn't they did like a show in the parking lot of his place, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds right.
And yeah, we could, and then they did they do anything for Zohran? Maybe not.
I don't think so. But he did like a bodega tour or something, right? So it's like,
oh yeah,
it's like, I feel like they're all connected via that kind of like, kind of true New York vibe, so to speak. Like, bodegas and Jewish delis and, all the things that are part of the true New York experience.
There's a Reddit link titled Zohran Mamdani is in Vampire Weekend ? I'm not clicking it. All right, let's keep going.
Well, another album that I put on this morning to help give me some energy is the new Drain album, Is Your Friend. And again, this is another one we've talked about on the show a bit because of singles, because of seeing Drain put on an awesome set at When We Were Young, where we also got a chance to talk to Sammy, the singer of Drain. And I think this is the best Drain album yet. It's, I think, a really key point, which came up when I did get a chance to chat with Sammy a couple weeks ago, is that the first full-length, California Cursed, was one of those like COVID-era hardcore breakthrough records. And it was recorded when, if you watch the Drain live videos from pre-COVID, they're awesome shows, but they're very small. And then Living Proof, which is their next record that came out in 2023, a couple years after live music returned, was actually written mostly during COVID lockdown. So Is Your Friend is really the first Drain album to be written since Drain have been putting on shows for like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people with these crazy reactions that they tend to get. And I know it's like a cliche to say this album captures the energy of a band's live show, but this album really deserves that sentence to be said about it. It really does on every level, because even lyrically, there are moments where Sammy is just like singing or yelling about kind of the adrenaline rush of being on stage at a Drain show. It's very just kind of like true to what it is. And I think it's the catchiest Drain record yet. The songs stick with you real quick. And that's not just because this has more clean vocals than any other Drain record. It's also the screamy songs are just as catchy. And there's like more of a, Drain kind of, people have said for years how they have kind of like a Pantera-esque groove metal thing going on. And this one, they have like way more of like kind of a skate punk early hardcore influence in there too. Like, Sammy shouted out bands like Adolescents, Minor Threat, Descendants as influences. You really hear that coming through. I would even say that the combination of the groove thrash stuff and the skate punk stuff is, for the first time in Drain's career, this album is the first thing that makes me want to compare them to Anthrax. And
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love that Drain, a band we've loved now for so many years, through now 3 albums, they're still talking about them in this way, that they've obviously become one of the bigger bands coming out of the hardcore scene in the past few years. And it's good to see them keep growing and just be the powerful force that they are with new music that we still love.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, even calling this their best record yet is like, especially in hardcore, like to say a third record is a band's best, like
exactly,
can feel sacrilegious, like not,
yeah,
or just unusual. But
for sure.
But it's like, I just have no qualms over calling it their best yet, and I'm so happy that I feel that way. Another much different but really good underground rap record from this week that we have also mentioned being excited for, and that it fully delivers on the expectations we had, is the new collaborative album from Arm& Hammer, aka Billy Woods and Elucid, and The Alchemist. It's called Mercy. It's their second collaborative album together, following Haram from 2021. And it's the second Billy Woods album of this year. He put out his solo record Gollywog earlier this year, which has, for me personally, been in my personal top 10 consistently since like the day it dropped. Billy Woods, Arm & Hammer in general, like Billy and Elucid, like the two of them and together and or separately always seem to drop like at least 2 records a year. And I'm just waiting for the moment that it just kind of feels like oversaturated, and it so far has not happened. They continue to hit. There's so many one-liners on this album that just feel like instant classic Arm & Hammer one-liners, and it's just it's as good as you would expect it to be. I'm very happy with it.
You know who else is on that Despot album from earlier this year? I mean, no. All right, oops.
You're saying Despot's on the Billy Woods record? Is that what?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Despot has definitely joined the Billy Woods circle. Like, I mean, LP, who I associate Despot with a lot too, has
Is
been on
on the
Billy
same
Woods
track.
records. Yeah,
Despot and LP, yeah, are actually on a track together.
There's
on
never
that
been
Billy
a Despot album. You realize
Well,
that?
that's kind of the legend, right?
Yeah,
But
I feel like
it's not surprising, back to what I just said, because he has become this like huge entrepreneur that owns all these bars or restaurants. Sorry for not having the specifics on that, but yeah, so he's busy.
Yeah, but I almost hope it's one of those things that never happens. Like, not that I wouldn't want to hear it. I'd love to hear it, but I like that. Like maybe by the end of his career, he'll have like 20 singles and 50 guest appearances, and that'll be it.
It's cool that he still finds time to rap at all.
Yeah, I mean, and he's
job.
always. I love his verse on the Billy Woods record. It's always good when he pops up. The Young Miko record out this week, Do Not Disturb, I think is really good. She is basically the new face of Latin trap, and I think this album it comes only a year and a half after her debut, but it just feels like she's so much more effortless and confident on it, and I love it. Rosalía has an album called Lux, which is like it's 18 tracks broken up into 4 movements and heavily inspired by opera music, which is completely different for Rosalía.
Well, is it? I mean,
no, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying there weren't hints of it before, but this is like straight up opera.
She's got the voice. I mean, she's always had the voice for it.
No, but now there's like the arrangements. Like, I mean, it's like it makes Queen's A Night at the Opera seem not so opera-esque in comparison.
Okay. I still haven't heard it, obviously, but let me check it out.
It's really different for her. It's interesting.
And Bjork's on there, as we said last.
Bjork is on there. Yeah, a few different guests. There's from all over. There's like she has like the album is in 13 different languages, and she has guests from Spain, Portugal, Mexico, Iceland, America. Yeah, it's wild. Some quick shout outs to Pupil Slicer's third album, Fleshwork. It's a UK metalcore band. It's their heaviest, darkest album yet. Some kind of black and death metal vibes in there. 2 really good hardcore alt rock crossover EPs this week. Recollection, which is members of Haywire, Rude Awakening, Criminal Instinct, other bands kind of doing a drug church fiddlehead thing. And Squint, the St. Louis band who are really good at that kind of music, have a new EP. Also out this week is Ali X's new album, Happiness Is Going to Get You, which Amanda has a review of on Brooklyn Vegan and notable releases. And Bill talks about a bunch of records in Indie Basement on brooklynvegan.com, including the third album from Sorry, which he says is their best yet. Also including the new Midlake record. Midlake, always great. Always happy to hear new stuff from them. He also reviews the new one from Insecure Men, which has a former member of Fat White Family. PE, which as the acronym in their name implies, is members of Pill and Eaters. And then new records from Constant Smiles, Westerman, Steve Gunn, Asamoto. I should have asked him how to pronounce that. It's a Belgian house electro duo, and it's an EP on Soulwax's label. Soulwax also produced it. Soulwax, who Bill just spoke to on our interviews podcast. It's a lot of Soulwax.
Which they might have even brought up this
I'm
release.
sure. Yeah, they must.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the episode, to be honest.
I listened to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, lots of
I
new.
just don't remember if this was the name they said. But yeah, they talked about a bunch of upcoming releases on Dewey and recent releases. Go listen to that.
Very nice. But yeah, a lot of cool music out this week. As always, check out notable releases and Indie Basement on brooklynvegan.com for all of our new album reviews.
What songs do we have?
A lot of new songs too.
Nothing announced their 5th album.
That's a big one. It's called A Short History of Decay. It comes out February 27th on Run for Cover. It's actually their first album for Run for Cover, but not their first time working with the label. They put out a split with Whir on Run for Cover back in 2014. The new single Cannibal World, I think, sounds the most like My Bloody Valentine of any Nothing song I can think of. The melodies are very MBV. It's got break beats, and the lineup for Nothing is always shifting. This one is at least their second album, maybe third, with Cloakroom singer Doyle Martin on guitar. It's their first with Best Coast's Bob Bruno on bass.
A familiar face for sure.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. Their drummer Zachary Jones was in the band's is or was in the band's MSC and Manslaughter 777, and the guitar player Cam Smith is currently touring as a member of Cloakroom as well. And the record was
he'll be opening for Snocaps.
Yeah, and Nothing. They're on Nothing's Slide Away Festival. Those festivals have the reunions of Hum and Chapter House. They're going to be awesome. There's editions in Brooklyn, Chicago, and LA. The last thing I'll say about Nothing, though, is that we have an exclusive Sour Apple Glitter vinyl variant of the album that comes housed in a green PVC bag with Nothing's logo screen printed on it. That's limited to 300 copies, and it's available at shop.brooklynvegan.com.
But not for long, so definitely go pick that up immediately if you want it, because yeah, they're moving very fast.
So some other songs out this week is two rap albums I'm really excited about. Is that Noname announced her new album Cartoon Radio, which there's no release date yet, and I would not hold your breath because Noname is kind of notorious for delaying things. And redveil, who is one of my favorite rising rapper producers, put out his last album Learn to Swim in 2022, and for a rising artist, I think I'm kind of surprised, especially a rising rapper, that it's been so long without a new album. So finally, he has a new album called Sankofa coming out December 5th. Again, the year does not end into November or December, or early December. So I'm excited about that. The new Noname single, 100 Acres, is really, really good. And the new redveil single, Lone Star, is really interesting. The first half is like a soul song. He sounds like he's been singing more on the new singles, which is cool, but I kind of have been missing his rapping. And so no longer do I need to say that, because on the second half of the song, he just comes in with these incredible rapping parts. And I'm like, oh yeah, redveil is one of the best newer rappers going. The combination of getting the redveil and Noname songs just after last week, we acknowledged that there are no rap songs in the top 40 for the first time in 35 years. I think it's a good time to say that it's very much still a great time for rap. And again, we had the Danny Brown and Arm & Hammer albums out this week, these new singles with album announcements. It's just a lot of the great rap is a little more underground right now.
And thanks to Nas' Legend Has It series, it's a great time for classic rappers putting out new albums as well, including just announced the 2 surviving members of De La Soul shared the first taste of their upcoming album, Cabin in the Sky, which comes out later this month. First single, The Package, was produced by Pete Rock, and the album also features Nas, who's putting out the album, Black Thought, the Lowdown actor Killer Mike, and Yukimi from Little Dragon, who at first I was like, whoa, but remembered De La Soul and Yukimi both famously on Gorillaz songs. And DJ Premier is also on that De La Soul album.
Yeah, I really like the Pete Rock beat on the new song. It's very nostalgic, so I'm excited to hear more. I feel like I've been a fan of this Legend Has It series. This Legend Has It series. I think because you are dealing with some rappers who are a little past their prime, some rappers who are not alive, and we're just kind of compiling what we can find for these releases. They're not all banger 9 out of 10 albums, but there's been a lot of cool stuff in this series.
Yeah.
Not only does that Danny Brown album have Underscores on it, but Underscores released her own new single, Do It, this week, which is going to appear on her upcoming album, which is still not titled, along with her other recent single, which is called Music. And the song it's pretty cool. It's kind of a hyper pop twist on early 2000s R&B, and the music video also looks like something you would have seen on MTV in that era. So it's pretty cool. I really am excited about the new Remember Sports album, The Refrigerator, that just got announced. Second single, Bug, came out this week, which is more of a faster indie punk song following lead single Across the Line, which had kind of like a Wednesday Rat Boys-esque grungy alt country vibe. Really important to mention is the new Shudder to Think songs that we talked about last week after you had seen them played live are now officially out, and they sound incredible. I think I feel like, I mean, they're the first songs in nearly 30 years, and sometimes when a band waits that long, it's just kind of like too long to still sound like that band. And these sound like classic Shudder to Think songs. They sound like, I would probably believe you if you said that they were like lost tracks from the mid 90s.
And we also theorized last week that more would be coming. And sure enough, I'm pretty sure the press release hints or says pretty explicitly that more is also on the way. So it's exciting. And it's exciting if you missed the band, because that means they'll have more shows. They already have more shows, but not many. Guessing they'll have many more shows.
So I'll let you tell us about the last song that we're going to mention.
Oh yeah, Portugal the Man, whose new album Shish is out this week, actually, have released a cover of one of the most popular songs in the world right now, Golden, from K-pop Demon Hunters, of course. But you need to be like an Amazon Music member to listen to it, I think. So I haven't heard it, actually. You want to know what else is going on?
I want to know.
Henry Rollins, who hasn't put out new music in a very, very long time. He certainly talked a lot, but music, has now said that he and Ian MacKaye recorded 4 new songs together. I mean, that's kind of crazy. Ian does release music, though, but obviously not with his bands Fugazi or Minor Threat. But he does have music. Unfortunately, I was not at any of them, but Ink and Dagger played some rare reunion shows in Philly with Thursday's Jeff Rickley on vocals this past weekend. Other guest vocalists at the shows included Dan Yemin, whose band Paint It Black opened night one, Michael Berdan of Uniform on the Halloween show that Dead Guy opened, Pierce Jordan on the night his band Soul Glow opened, and promoter Robbie Red Cheeks at the 4th and final gig. In related news, Thursday's Jeff Rickley has released an audiobook edition of his autofiction novel Someone Who Isn't Me, along with an eerie original score by Jeff himself. Thursday, meanwhile, heads out on tour with Silverstein later this month. Another band who sounds a little like Thursday, when Alexis on Fire, who, when you talked to them at When We Were Young recently, they told you they had plans for their classic album Crisis's 20th anniversary. Now, UK hardcore and more festival Outbreak Fest has announced its initial already stacked 2026 lineup, and it includes Alexis on Fire performing Crisis, Hatebreed performing songs from Satisfaction is the Death of Desire and Perseverance, and plus more. Touche Amore performing Stage 4 in full for its 10th anniversary, which is also a full tour, by the way. Trapped Under Ice doing a Big Kiss Goodnight 15th anniversary set. Basement, Suicidal Tendencies, Converge, Pup, High-Vis, and much more on there. I would love to make it to the UK for that. Probably won't.
Every year, I'm like, I want to go to Outbreak. It just has, it's just so much to, cross the Atlantic to get there. But I just am consistently sort of like thrilled with their lineups. And this is no exception. And that it is only the initial lineup is very exciting.
And yeah, I was excited to see Alexis on Fire on top of that lineup, but just because they kind of stand out as a band who you wouldn't expect to be on this festival. And we've been going on and on and on about them. And then it just feels like, yeah, I agree they should be on there.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't expect them at least to be, I mean, not that they like that they are a headliner. It feels kind of like a noticeable change for Outbreak, but also one that makes so much sense. And I hope that they play Crisis in New York also, because I would really like to see them play that album from start to finish.
Yes, definitely hoping that also becomes a full tour. I assume they said
they pretty much see they I wouldn't even say they hinted that. I would say they heavily hinted, I guess, that they said, I believe the exact quote was, "You don't have to twist our arms very hard to get us to do some cool Crisis stuff."
Yes. And obviously this set would have been already booked when they were saying that to you.
Yeah, it was right. They were clearly being coy. It's I guess a good way to put it.
And on to the next item. Decades after the bootleg version made the rounds, official Deftones Dickies collab merch finally launched and quickly sold out. That was just a couple days after Deftones hosted their annual Dia de los Deftones Festival, at which they made live debuts of 4 songs from their new album, Private Music. And if you haven't listened to Private Music in a minute, a good time to remind yourself why this is one of the best albums of 2025 before we get into end of list season. I'm also talking to myself. Devo are currently out on their 50 Years of De-Evolution tour and have announced they'll stream their November 13th Denver show live on Veeps. Grateful Dead singer Donna Jean Godchaux sadly passed away at age 78 this week. A tribute was posted to Donna on the official Grateful Dead Facebook, which read in part, "Her contributions will forever remain part of the tapestry that continues to be woven." Following rumors that Death Grips broke up, they now say that they are writing and recording their first album since 2018. AC/DC has announced a new North and South American tour for 2026. Who's in AC/DC at this point?
Angus Young, Brian Johnson, and other people.
Right. Still a chance to see AC/DC, so don't mess that up if you've never seen AC/DC.
I'm sure it's gonna be a blast.
Dirty Three, the trio of Nick Cave's close collaborator Warren Ellis, Mick Turner, and Jim White, announced their first North American tour in 14 years. Sunny Day Real Estate and Pool Kids have announced New York City and Philly dates around their respective appearances at Boston's Something in the Way Fest in 2026. If you missed the Brooklyn Vegan pre-sale for this killer bill, tickets for those new shows are on sale now. This week in Geese, they covered New Radicals' You Get What You Give for BBC Radio 1. Speaking of great albums that came out this year.
New Radicals?
Yes, exactly. Over on the BV Interviews podcast, the Charlatans' Tim Burgess stopped by and talked to Bill. And in case you missed it, we have a lot of great episodes out there on that Interviews podcast. Now would be a good time to go check out our Saint Etienne episode, speaking also of 2025 albums. And in the shop, we've got our exclusive variant of that new Drain album we mentioned, of the new Nothing album we mentioned. We've got the Descendants album that has 1 song Drain covers. We've got a new pressing of Turnstile's new album, Never Enough, and much more at shop.brooklynvegan.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on Apple and Spotify. Why not? And I guess we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for tuning in. Dave and I will be back every Friday morning with new episodes of BB Weekly. And in between the episodes, you can always get much more from us at brooklynvegan.com, on all of our social media, including Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can pick up records from us at shop.brooklynvegan.com. And if you like what you hear, tell your friends about us, subscribe to the show, give us a good rating. All that little stuff goes a really long way. It really helps us a lot, and we really appreciate it. So until then, thank you again, and see you next time.